Hi, welcome to the third week of our course on theoretical perspectives and key ideas in anthropology. This week we do another major concept in anthropology. We did society last week. This week we're doing culture. And as I said last week about society, you can tell how important it is as a concept by the fact that it's made it into the name of our discipline, social anthropology. Well, exactly the same goes for culture. Because as it happens, mainly in the United States of America, for reasons that we'll discover today, anthropologists working on the same kinds of questions that social anthropologists work on in Europe call themselves there cultural anthropologists. So social anthropologists and cultural anthropologists are kind of, intimately connected. They do the same kind of thing, although the respective influences and traditions, more European in the context of social anthropology and more North American in the context of cultural anthropology, also mean that they take different approaches. And partly that is the point of today's lecture, is to kind of introduce you to those kinds of differences, the differences in emphasis that a focus on culture as opposed to a focus on society might involve. Now, as I did last week and will try to do every week, this introductory clip really is just to tell you a little bit about what I think of the concept that we're discussing, what my take on it is, what makes it interesting to me, how I feel about it, and so on, just as a way to kind of get us to think together about it in that way. And about culture, I really have to say I have a profoundly ambivalent relationship to that concept. I have problems with the concept of society. As I explained last week, there are many problems with the concept of society. But I have, I think, even more problems personally with the concept of culture. I completely get it. I think it's massively important to develop the study of cultural phenomena as a very important field for anthropologists to engage in. I completely understand the need and the kind of laudable impulse that underlies the central idea of cultural approaches in anthropology, which is that different people see the world differently. People have different world views, it is sometimes said, right? Now, often anthropologists, when they say people, they mean societies, social groups. So each social group has its own viewpoint on the world. And along with that goes a kind of relativistic approach, which we'll talk about more in the subsequent clips, that basically says that each of those viewpoints is equally valid, and so on. Now, all of that I get, and of course, it's hugely inspiring to kind of open up your mind to other perspectives on the world than your own. And I find that completely central to anthropology, and the concept of culture helps us do that. All that I accept, and it's important. But what I feel uncomfortable about is the way in which culturalism, if you like, so the kind of commitment to culture as a concept that allows us to pluralize our view of the world in anthropology and beyond, for that matter. So we talk about multiculturalism in politics. It's not a concept that anthropologists have exclusive use of, right? So both within anthropology and beyond anthropology, this concept maps on very tidily on the politics of liberalism. Now, as it happens, I'm pretty liberal myself. I have no necessary political kind of axe to grind against liberalism. I mean, we can talk about political views in a different context. This is not really the appropriate context in which to be discussing my personal political views, but I'm open about the fact that I'm okay with liberalism politically, but I'm really uncomfortable with it anthropologically. Why am I so uncomfortable with it? Because liberalism, of course, is a particular political technology, a political ideology that comes out of Europe and European political thinking, and of course is expanded in this ideological construct that we talk of as the West, right? Or Occidental, or the global North, and so on. Liberalism is a kind of cardinal political, ethical virtue of the West, thus understood. And an anthropology that bases itself on a concept that has such a contingent trajectory has problems. So let's find out more in the subsequent clips.